A tihei Māori tū, tihei Māori ora, tihei Māori ora kia tātou katoa. Kia ora mai tātou, ko Puoro Jerome tēnei, this is Puoro Jerome, and thanks for joining us again for our series Oro Atua ki te ao. I'm looking at some of the healing practices of and uses of Taonga Puoro, etahi atu ngā kōrero and some other random kōrero that'll probably pop in and this one today we're looking into the realms of Hineputehue through the hue, and the first sound that you heard is the hue Puruhau. Hue Puruhau, there's hue with the top cut off, and then you get all the seeds out, you give it a clean, and then you can blow across the top like a bottle, blowing across the bottle in a bottle, and then you get that beautiful deep booming sound. This one's quite a small one actually, but still makes a beautiful sound. So I'm just gonna sort of cut straight to some of the first times I realized that the potency in using them as a healing. So one of my friends was having baby, and she had previously asked me, "Oh, bro, can you come down when baby's born and play some of your puoro for us and play for, to welcome baby?" And so, oh yeah, that sounds like a beautiful idea. So this is going back about 10 years ago now, or maybe a little bit less, but long time, and or a while. And so there we were. Early hours of the morning, I get a call, bro, baby's coming, so aramai. And so that was me, jumped in the car with my puoro, got down there just before the sun was rising, and my friend was having contractions, and I sort of, it was a home birth, so we're in a tiled bathroom, quite big, and there was another friend helping her birth baby and assisting her with that, and it was me with all my puoro. So I sort of sat down in this chair kind of to the side there, and then I think I might have pulled out a kōwauwau, so I started playing that, and I think it was quite a sort of high-pitched sound, and she told me to shut up pretty quick, because obviously that wasn't working. So I sort of thought, oh well, maybe it's some of the deeper, softer sounds, of course, because so I started to play my hue Puruhau, and what sort of naturally came out of that or happened was that I would listen to her breathing in the contractions, and then just play along with that. So sort of just listening to the mama, and then copying her breathing pattern. So yeah, and so that was me. That was sort of what worked, and she sort of gave me the thumbs up. Yeah, that's good. Keep going, play that one, and and so that went on for a good couple of hours. I think sun had risen, and not too long after that, baby came out into the world. And obviously I'm taking my cue from my friend who was the mum giving birth. So it was really, really beautiful experience, and also something interesting that happened to me because I was breathing like that for so long. I became very light-headed, and I started to get pins and needles, and wasn't a bad feeling, but it was pretty sort of memorable experience. I was closing my eyes at one point, and it almost felt like I was floating up onto the roof, which was quite interesting. Just using the breath in that way. It's so baby came out and was a bit of a screamer, and because it was a home birth, baby kept crying and wouldn't really stop, so we started to get a bit worried, and everyone was a bit panicked because we were thinking, oh gee, should we go to the hospital now, sort of panicking a bit, but and wouldn't stop crying for some time, and I just thought, oh well, maybe I'll come over by baby and play my hue Puruhau again. Yeah, and then that sound was pretty much the only thing that would stop baby from crying. So every time I stopped playing, then baby would cry again. So, I kept playing that for, another hour or so. Just during that time, I was lying on his mum's chest, and they were bonding there, and that was a sound that helped to calm him and bring him into the world, which was beautiful. So that experience that was kind of led from my friend, the mum, and then as baby came out into the world through baby, and so there was really invaluable lessons that I learned from that experience, and have shared, in a lot of my kōrero and journeys across the motu. So yeah, when I look at the hue Puruhau, and it's not rocket science, because when we look at the whakapapa of the hue, it's coming from Hineputehue, and so Hineputehue is our atua that comes in during that time of the traumatic separation of rangi and papa, traumatic for rangi and papa, and also for ngā atua, ngā tamariki, rātou, and in her, in her kōrero, or in her mahi, she came about and started to sing in that time of great warring between the atua, and her song was a song that was so powerful that it enabled those tamariki to, the atua, I should say, to sort of, kia tau, and it brought some like a passive sound into the mix, and then they were able to calm down and sort of like signify the end of that period of kind of fighting. So yeah, for kia kone whakaaro, and not just mine, but most people, it's Hineputehue is known as an atua of peacefulness, and very similar to rongo and haumea tiki, and when we look at the god or the hue, it's grown in the mara and the realm, in those same realms. So very amazing atua, Hineputehue. In that pūrākau also there's kōrero about her observing the fighting between her siblings, the atua, and some say that she inhaled, or she was able to absorb all of that riri and that fighting and that frustration and sadness. She absorbed it and she took it into her tinana, and she was able to transform those feelings and those emotions, and then when she released and she exhaled, out came this beautiful peaceful waiata. So I'm going to play another one, and this one is the Ponga ihu, and Ponga ihu is a smaller type of hue that's played with the ihu, and again brings those beautiful peaceful sounds. Hei whakarata te wairua te tangata, hei whakatau te wairua te tangata, atu hua i ratu mea, and so I'm going to play this Ponga ihu, which is also a hue. So that brings me nicely into the Ponga ihu, and the Ponga ihu are as I mentioned, the smaller types of hue. This one here fits in the palm of my hand. It's got 3 wene or 3 finger holes, which I sort of stick to in most of my puoro. I try and stay to the 3. And really that's been guided by one of our tūpuna, one of our karaua that shares a lot of kōrero and mātauranga in regards to the 3, relating to the 3, the bird when it sits on the branch, the kei rone te peka, e mauna te peka, and you'll see when the bird sits on the branch, like if you look at a kereru or any of them tui, you'll see when they're sitting on the branch, you have their three mati, you know, their fingers or their toes or whatever you want to think of them as, and they'll be holding onto the branch with one at the back. And so ngā hape para tūaihi would always talk about how important that three, the symbolic of the bird's claw is pertaining to Taonga Puoro. He talked about it often and reiterated it and talked about how important that is and how it goes right through the whole thing of Taonga Puoro. So his kōrero and influence and his mātauranga, you know, coming from our rohe, where we're from, and our hapu and whānau, was amazing, you know, along with my grandmother, and who were sort of some of the most influential people in sharing kōrero pertaining to our rohe and our hapu and whānau. So, yeah, and as I've mentioned before, the other kōrero here, it's really important that we go back and look into our own hapu and whānau kōrero, and iwi, but, you know, if we can get very specific and back to it and spend time with those kui and kraua that have that, then that's great, because that's really helped me to shape it and make it into our flavour, so that when I'm working with our whānau at home and our mokopuna, that we have those to pass on. So yeah, and I touch on that, and it's not anything new, but it's just that it's not just one general body of knowledge. There's, you know, there's many branches, just like a rākau, and that's what celebrates the diversity within our culture, which is beautiful. You know, it's very expansive. So yeah, that's the Ponga ihu. Now the Ponga ihu, you know, in terms of, I know what it is if I'm utilising them for my own kind of self-healing, and I just connect to Hineputehue, and when I'm playing any of the hue, and try and sort of bathe in that ahu of peace, you know, of being settled and feeling peaceful. So that's pretty easy. And again, we're using our ha, we're using our breath, and that's in a way that is controlled, and you know, I just focus on the sound, and what seems to happen for me anyway is that everything else dissipates. You know, I might be worried about this and that and out in the world, you know, but when I'm in the space of Puoro, then it really helps me just to whakatau and to feel peaceful and feel come back to some kind of balance. Again, with the Ponga ihu, just like the Hue Puruhau, was really a situation where I got to spend time with our whānau in a heightened experience, and this one was around moko kauai and tāmoko. So and I was working with a moko artist at the time who was using uhi, and had come to our marae to you know, share his mahi and taonga for one of our aunties. So it was quite a beautiful experience, because he didn't arrive to our marae until late afternoon, evening, so we all sat down and had a kai with him, and I think everyone thought that we was going to go straight into the moho kauai, you know, and the whole everything that entails after dinner. But he goes, no, we'll be you know, we'll start with karakia during the night, and we'll start in the middle of the night, and we'll finish right on sunrise. So you know, half of our whānau dropped off at that point and all went home. But yeah, I was I'd never seen that. It was a while ago now too, you know, but I'd never seen anyone utilise uhi, the bird bone chisels, and to create moko, all moko kauai, so I was stuck around, you know. And, that was an amazing experience. We heard kōrero and ruruku and karakia all through the night, and then probably would have been about 4-ish, set everything up, and then sort of into it, you know. Our auntie laid on the table there, and away he went. And so again, I had all my puoro, and I sort of indicated I've got some puoro here, and so he sort of invited me to join in and play some puoro in between everyone else singing and on the guitar and that sort of stuff. So whenever there was a quiet moment, then I would play puoro. And a similar thing happened where I was playing kōwaua, and some of the higher pitch sounds in it didn't really seem to help our auntie, and so it went back to the deeper, lower sounds, and that's where I saw the Puruhau and the Hue Puruhau, but for some reason the Puruhau and the Porotiti, the Kuko were the ones that really helped. So, and again, I was guided by, you know, our auntie, koera te mana o te wahine, and then to and how I should proceed, and so I just sort of sat quite close to the table there, and just played our Puruhau. And so from that example, then that sets kind of a precedent and moving forward, and how we might use these in different situations, particularly, you know, moko kauai, it's a bit sore, especially when you get onto the lips, and our auntie, you know, said afterwards, that helped a lot. And one thing, a lot of, and so I've done it a few times now, or quite a lot, for both mataora and moko kauai. And one thing that's common, and kind of, you know, afterwards when you have a bit of a catch up and a kōrero, that a lot of our whānau talk about, when they're in that space, they help them to really transport to somewhere else, not too far away, but somewhere else, and again to, you know, hoki mahara, to some memories of different people come back. They're able to sort of like come out a little bit from the pain of the body and come out into a sort of space where that's helpful, and then memories of tūpuna, of those ones gone before, and you know, just being in that space to help with the pain. So yeah, these are some of the kōrero that I wanted to just jump on and share around how we might utilise our whānau Hineputehue through the hui. One vision that I would love to see in the future is, particularly around the hui Puruhau, is for, because I think sometimes when we have, for some of our tāne and that, or whānau that are sort of hanging around when baby's being born, you sort of you're a bit redundant, you don't really know what to do. Or that's happened to me anyway, when I was younger. Just sort of didn't know what to do and how to tautoko, but one thing that became very apparent was in the revitalisation of these practices is that the hue puruhau, the bigger hue that we blow across the top and make that booming sound, you know, in those experiences, working in that space with our whānau, what I saw quickly was like a more wider picture of I guess a more complete process of how the hue puruhau might be utilised in the haputanga. And so what I saw was our tāne, or the partner of mum, expected mum, is during the, you know, whether you have a hue puruhau already, or ultimately as you're planting those seeds during koanga of the hue, and growing them with that intention of supporting the hoputanga, supporting mum, supporting baby, supporting the whānau, growing those, planting those kākano of the hue with that intention. Yeah? And, I know often our babies aren't planned, but, it can always be done, much before that, or if you're lucky, could time it. One thing our nanny used to get us to do sometimes when she would plant seeds for the mother is she would get us to, as kids, put those seeds in our mouth. And I sort of always went, man, what are we doing this for? And then, just for a little bit, and then after that she'll plant them in. And she always said, when you put that kākano in your mouth there, that's going to tell the vegetable or the hua, what's coming out, exactly what you need as our mokopuna, it'll take a reading from your body, and then that's the nutrients, and what's going to come out strongly is that. So it's sort of like a hono or a joining between the seed and the tamariki, the mokopuna. So that made me start to think about if we're looking at starting whānau or continuing whānau, as tāne, as a role, as to put that seed of the hue in our mouth there with those intentions and with those whakaaro. And when we plant that, that's doing a couple of things. It's softening the kiri, the outer part of the kākano, and allows the tupu to come through. But yeah, we plant that with all those beautiful thoughts around whānau and hoputanga and mama and pepi. Plant that, we grow that hue puruhau, we set that hue puru, we grow them right to the end, we harvest them, we dry them, we set them aside especially for the purpose of birthing and hoputanga, as a tāne, because it's about sort of revitalising and reclaiming our roles as tāne, or part, the partner. And so, yeah, you got your hue puruhau, you make it, you're still holding those beautiful whakaaro, those intentions, you make your hue puruhau, getting ready, the time eventually comes, and babies growing, and the hue puruhau can be played in the evenings for baby. If baby's kicking around in the night and keeping mum up or waking mum up, then you can play the hue puruhau. It's got that beautiful deep sound, it's soothing. And then comes to the time when baby's being born, you can play through the contractions, taking your cue from the breathing patterns of mum. And then when baby comes out into the world, he waiata pohiri for, to be a part of that waiata pohiri for baby coming into the world. For me, that's a beautiful way that we indigenize our own spaces, and we can indigenize the sound of spaces as well. So yeah, baby's born. We've played baby into the world. We've helped, hopefully help mama a little bit. And then of course when it comes to the pito and the whenua, then we can then place and we can, because they're all multifunctional, then that hue puruhau then changes its function to become a ipu, to hold that pito and hold that whenua. So perhaps we're growing 2 or 3 or 4, and we're putting them aside for those times, whether it be your own tamariki or somebody else's. We can start to do this and then we take that and we do what we need to do, bury them, put them in those sacred places, or bury them under the tree, plant a tree, all those beautiful things that we do. So yeah, that's one of the big visions or something that's come through that hopefully whānau can pick up and be a part of and share and revitalise, So anyway, I think that's enough. Kōrero pana ki ngā taonga Hineputehue, the beautiful gifts Hineputehue has given us through the Hue Puruhau and Ponga Ihu, and there's quite a lot of other ones too, but you know, he kōrero poto tēnei, so these are just some thoughts that we're sharing, and there's so much more. Anō reira e te iwi, ki aora rā Māori ora Māori aroha ki a tātou.